I decided to come up with my own bingo board that I'll just kind of pop in right here. Hopefully there's a change. Like, we're not just pumping kids with Ritalin and Adderall anymore, right? Stephen King who? I'm gonna say it. Stephen King who? And see if I actually finished my bingo. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Mariah and this is Mariah's Moods. Welcome to the start of a new reading vlog, and this one's gonna be special because it is my spooky Halloween reading vlog. I love a good reading challenge. I love to make up different reading challenges that I can accomplish. I've done a couple on my channel now, and I just always have a great time. So I was thinking, like, okay, how can I bring in a spooky reading challenge? There's tons. There's lots of different readathons happening right now, but I didn't want to commit necessarily to a readathon because I don't know how consistently I'll be reading in the next few weeks. So I was like, well, what if I just kind of like make a game out of it? So I was kind of perusing Pinterest and I came across a couple of different bingo boards. Well, I love bingo. I have a bingo board in my reading journal that I've essentially been going through, and I will say that I have not checked on it in a while. I'm hoping I've gotten bingo at this point, but I was like, oh, I love this idea, but not all of the prompts that were on the bingo cards that I was finding were really what I was feeling like reading or kind of like vibing with. So I just thought, why not just make my own bingo board, look at some inspirations, come up with some prompts that I would enjoy. But I also wanted to include prompts that weren't necessarily scary, because I don't know if I want to read 7 scary books. Now, I love horror. I do like horror. I do like thrillers, but back to back to back, I don't know if I was about that. So I decided to come up with my own bingo board that I'll just kind of pop in right here, that I'm going to be working on through the month of October, and specifically focusing on the last 2 weeks of October. Give me 2 weeks before Halloween hits to really dig into those spooky and fall vibes. So I did already finish a book in the month of October, and so I don't even know if it falls into the bingo board, but we'll go ahead and take a look. The first book that I did finish this month was A Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. It was absolutely beautiful, and I loved it. It was cute, it was funny, it was heartbreaking. The romance was nice. It was a little bit of a slow burn, which I enjoyed. And Mika was great. I loved her. So I did read this. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I read it with my book club. They also really enjoyed it. It was like the perfect fall book that was not scary. Like, this is cute little like witchy romance. So if I look at the bingo board, it could be a non-spooky fall read. It could be sweet as candy romance. I think it has more than 13 chapters. Maybe 29, close to 31. No haunted house, not a movie, not a classic. Okay, so I think I'm going to choose sweet as candy romance because it was very sweet. It was very wholesome. I'm gonna go ahead and mark that one for 1 off of the bingo. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the very ambitious TBR I have for this vlog. Because like I said, I'm trying to get a bingo, but I want to just read what I want to read, and hopefully bingo kind of falls into that. Like, I'm not trying to pick my books specifically to make like a certain row of bingo, if that makes sense. I just want to read what I want to read, and if I can make a bingo, then I'll make a bingo. If I maybe get close to a bingo, maybe I'll pick a certain book to kind of hit that key point to get bingo, but I'm okay if I don't. If you're interested in doing bingo, I have shared both on my Instagram and on my community page a copy of this. Feel free to use it, follow along, mark off your little bingo, and I would love to see it. So definitely, if you post it to Instagram, tag me in it so I can see anyone else that's maybe done the bingo. I would love for this to be more of an interactive thing. Maybe in the future, make it a readathon. I don't really know, but it is there for the taking if you'd like. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into that very ambitious TBR. So first of all, I need to get some of these books done that were on my TBR for the month from my TBR game. I'm a little behind. I want to get more book tokens and I don't want to have an extra roll. So if you haven't watched that video, go ahead and watch that. I would love for you to check it out and maybe give me some feedback on the game. Either way, so the ones that are on my TBR that really like fit the mood of this vlog are going to be these three. So I have the Bone Orchard by Sarah A. Mueller, and I'm a little nervous because it's very dense. Like, margins are tiny and there's a lot of words on that page, but we'll get through it. Next one is Bunny by Mona Awad. This is following a girl named Samantha who is going through like graduate school for writing, and in this workshop there's these girls that are really close, like cliquey, and they call each other Bunny, and they have this book club called the Smut Salon, and they're just really weird and really creepy, but Samantha's like just intrigued by them and a little like obsessed, I think. Either way, she gets invited to their book club and just things go crazy and gets very unhinged. I heard it's kind of like a fever dream, and I just love this cover so much. Then I have Vicious by V. Schwab. This is going to be a reread, so it's not necessarily very high on the priority list, but it might be a good thing to kind of break up throughout this vlog to just kind of like give myself a break. All right, and so the next 4 books are just for fun. I've been wanting to read them, and what better time to read them than around Halloween time. So we'll see if I actually get through them. The first one I have is Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. I've never read from Joe Hill. Only thing I know about Joe Hill is that he's Stephen King's son. Does that really mean anything? I don't really think so. But I did pick this up on a whim, and don't really know what it's about. It sounded crazy and unhinged, and I just kind of was drawn to it. Keeping it in the family, I do want to read Misery by Stephen King. I've been wanting to read this for so long. Can't believe I haven't. My friend from book club gave me her extra copy, which I absolutely love. It's like old school cover. Like, look at him on that. Wow. I have only ever read one other Stephen King. I read Carrie in middle school when I shouldn't have been reading Carrie. And I thought it was okay, but I also think that I was too young to read it to really understand what was happening. So that was my only experience with Stephen King. But the idea of Misery sounds fantastic, and I have seen parts of the movie adaptation with Kathy Bates. But my friend and I are going to go see Misery. The local theater is putting on Misery next week. So I'm hoping to read this, finish this before we actually go see the play. And then this is just like turning into like a Stephen King and family vlog. But this is not Stephen King. It is a retelling, and I want to read The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is a Carrie retelling that I've been excited about. This has literally been on my shelf for a year. And for whatever reason, I didn't read it last year during this time, and then I was like, I can only read it at Halloween. I don't know why. Could have read it many, many times, many, many moons. Did not. So I was like, listen, this is the year, this is the season, this is the time we're reading this book. So I'm a little more excited about this one. I've had several friends read it who absolutely loved it, and I like want to read this right now, just holding this one. The last book I have on this very ambitious TBR is The Ex Hex by Erin Sterling. Another one that's been on my shelf for a year because I didn't read it last Halloween. I was like, I gotta read it next Halloween. I need to stop that. I've heard it's like okay and cute. It's short. Text is pretty big, so I could get through it. Again, another maybe like break up the horror in this TBR. And it's just kind of a cute little romance, and I think I'm just kind of chasing this vibe again, so we'll see if I can kind of get both. But that is the TBR for this video. Top priority are my picks from the game, but I'm looking at the stack and there's lots of other ones I'd rather be reading first. Don't know what I'm going to pick first. I'm on a break from work, but I do need to get back to it, so I'm probably going to do a little bit of work, maybe decide on a book, and then I'll update you. later this afternoon, I have a doctor's appointment, so I don't know how much reading I will get done before then, and then it is Tuesday, so it is book club, and we're actually going to go to a local bookstore for book club tonight. So I don't know. Today's a busy day, but I figure why not start the vlog? Let's just do it. I will check in with you guys in a little bit. Hey friends, welcome back. It's been a few hours. I am officially done with work, but it is time for me to get cleaned up because I have a doctor's appointment. But I thought I would go ahead and fill you in with what I decided to start with, and that is Misery by Stephen King. I just really want to get this done before we go see the play because I just want to frame a reference when I go in there. So this book is divided into 4 major parts, and I've made it to part 2, so that's 89 pages in. I'm going to take this off. This is aggravating me. And honestly, it's okay, but let me go ahead and give you just a quick rundown of what this is. So this is following Paul, who's a very popular author, and he is involved in a car accident in the snow. I'm still not sure if it was on purpose or just like a happy accident in a weird way. But anyway, he is rescued by his #1 fan. And he's pretty gnarled up. Like, his legs are pretty jacked up. Apparently it's a pretty bad car accident. And she's basically got him like held hostage in her house. And she's like nursing him back to life, but also keeping him kind of hostage. And like getting him just comfortable but not quite healed, and like refuses to take him to get any type of medical treatment at all. She's just pumping him full of meds. And that's kind of like where we're at. She has some severe mental illness. We see that she kind of comes in and out of like moments of sanity. Like, she's not there, like she's not lucid, she's somewhere else. Like, you can tell she's just somewhere else. And then she just kind of comes back, and it's very jarring. But also, Paul himself is not a good person. Like, he's also shady and dicey, and now on the verge of like a pain pill addiction because of the way that she's been nursing him. And so following him is very difficult and disorienting, which I feel like may be the purpose, right? So we have this like unreliable narrator, and not necessarily because he seems to be morally gray, but also he's in and out of consciousness. He's in severe pain. He's like really needing these pain pills. And so at some points, especially in the beginning when you're reading, it's just very hard to like follow because we're hearing from Paul, but then it like shuts off. And it's like while Annie is speaking, we're also reading Paul's thought process. So it's like Annie's dialogue is in and out. Like, she's just kind of rambling, and as she's rambling, we'll get a little bit of what Paul's thinking, and it continues with the ramble. So it's very disorienting, and it took me a minute to kind of get into a groove, and right when I felt like I was in a groove, I hit part 2. So I'm going to continue on with it. I am not absolutely loving it. I like the disorientation. However, I don't know if Stephen King is the one that's doing it for me. I don't know if maybe it could have been written a little bit different by a different author. But I don't want to make my final thoughts yet because I am only a quarter of the way through. But I have to take a break from reading because I have to go to the doctor. I am on a journey of figuring out what is going on. What's going on with me. And I feel like I'm not the only person, and I feel like this is very common in my generation of millennial. You know, it's just kind of where we're at. I've got the anxiety. I've got that down pat. And as a child, I was diagnosed with ADD, and they put me more in the ADID, like the inattentive disorder. Don't know if that really even changed what they decided to do when I was a child. So I went a long time medicated, and I did not like it. I didn't like the way that it felt. I felt like a robot. So I've gone a long time unmedicated. And I told myself for a very long time that like I over life had come up with strategies that helped me. And by all means, I still think that I have found strategies that help me get from day to day. But it seems like lately in the last like year or so, and probably even longer, I feel like when I hit kid number 3, something in my brain like snapped, just like short circuited, and it's been really hard. It's been really hard functioning at this point, and my anxiety rocketed as a response. You know, that vicious cycle of both of them. Like anxiety can be induced from ADHD, and ADHD does not help an anxious person. So, you know, I got both. But like all that to say, I'm on the journey to kind of figure out what's going to be best for me. And so I'm going to talk to my doctor today about my diagnosis and figure out what is maybe in the last 15, 20 years, what has come of treatment. I don't know, because it's been, oh my God, like 20 years. Oh my God. I'm so old. Reality is like hitting at this moment. It's been 20 years since I was diagnosed. Whoa. Whoa. 21 years, because I was 11. Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to say that 21 years, hopefully there's a change. Like, we're not just pumping kids with Ritalin and Adderall anymore, right? Please tell me that's not what we're doing. So that's the conversation I'm going to have with my doctor. When I get done my appointment, I'm hoping to get some reading done, but I don't know. It'll depend on how long I have to, you know, sit in a possible pharmacy, depending on what happens with this. And, you know, if you don't know, military healthcare, they might call it free, but we're getting what we're not paying for. So I don't know. I might be sitting at a pharmacy for another 4 hours. So I'm going to bring that with me. And hopefully I have some time after that before my book club. And if not, it's going to be a long day. Either way, it's ending on book club. So any day, any Tuesday is a nice day because I get to see my friends. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm running out of time. I need to get ready. I need to clean myself up. And if I do some more reading, I will check in with you. If I don't, I may check in with you anyway. But either way, catch you on the flip side. Hey friends, quick update. So I made a big boo-boo and I completely forgot that it was Wednesday and the night of Misery. So this is a terrible angle. Oh God. But it is Misery night. So I'm actually in the parking lot of the theater waiting for my friend, and we're gonna go in and see Misery. So I didn't get to finish the book in time, but maybe it'll actually motivate me to finish the book because it's picking up, it's getting a little better, but I'm still not 100% like sold by this book. So maybe this play will motivate me to want to finish this book. But she just pulled in, but I'm just going to take a second and admire my murder earrings there. Oh, love them. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to run inside and go enjoy this play, and I will check in with you guys later. So, Thursday night, I did finish Misery, and I just don't know where I sit on this one. The last third of the book or so was great. I really enjoyed that part, like the very unhinged, the gore, the just all-out craziness, I did enjoy. But the first, like, 2/3 of the book for me just wasn't doing it. And honestly, I feel like if it wasn't for me going to see the play, I would have probably DNF'd this book. If it wasn't for me seeing it visually and just being like hyped off of that, I probably wouldn't have wanted to continue with this one. And honestly, I feel like the visual just like enhanced what was happening in the book. I just feel like at some points, like Stephen King did a great job of like describing what was happening. Like I could visually see it, but at the same time, there would just be like lots of lulls in the plot and in the story and things that I'm just like, not like I don't care or like why are we talking about this, but I feel like it could have been like replaced with things that might have been more suspenseful. So I don't know how to rate this. So I think I'm going to give this, I think I'm going to give it a 3.5, and that might upset some people, but that's okay. We all have different opinions. Again, I think if it wasn't for me seeing the play and seeing visual representation of this that motivated me to want to read this, I probably would have stopped. I do recommend it if you like Stephen King. If you haven't read Misery, I'm assuming you would love this one. I don't know. I still want to watch the movie though. So let's take a look at the bingo board and see if Misery can be knocked off of any space. Let's see. I mean, obviously we could put it for horror, mystery, or thriller. Night in the title. No, book that didn't really scare me. Okay, spooky book to movie adaptation. This is definitely been a movie, which I do plan on watching. So we'll just go ahead and put it there. We're gonna say spooky book to movie adaptation. So after I finished Misery, I was trying to figure out what on my very ambitious TBR that we came up with I wanted to read, and I was looking on Libby, and for some reason, I guess I had picked up a heart-shaped box, but I guess I didn't see it in my library, so I only have like 5 days left on the audiobook, and I don't want to have to like recheck it out because it does say that someone's waiting, so then that means like I would have to wait for them, and it just whatever. So I decided to start Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill, which is Stephen King's son. I don't know anything about him. All I know is that he's Stephen King's son. I hate to label him in that way because I'm sure he is an individual and his writer and, you know, whatever, and I'm sure he hates to hear, oh, I'm Stephen King's son, right? Only, I think, 8 chapters in. Yeah, so I'm like barely made a dent in this little book. But I'm liking it so far. It's weird. Like, it's weird. So basically we're following Jude, who he collects weird stuff. Like samples from like serial killer letters and like bones of like random things. And basically online he sees an ad for a ghost for sale. The ad's kind of like, yeah, this is like my stepfather's ghost. He kind of just like hopped from house to house, so he's not really like tethered or tied to anything, but he's freaking out my daughter and I need this ghost gone, and if you buy this box he'll just kind of go with it and you can have a ghost. And he's like, sign me up, I want that ghost. And he buys it, and he gets this box. It comes in this heart-shaped box that has like the suit in it, and like immediately, like that night, he sees the stepfather, and it's kind of freaking him out. And he's like, I didn't really think it was gonna be a ghost. Thought I was just like, hey, I got a ghost in a box, but like not actually a ghost. But it's a ghost. That's where I'm at. I don't feel like that was any spoilers because that's everything that's on the back of the book. This is like a mass paperback, so it says 429 pages, but I don't know about you. Like, I kind of fly through these a little bit quickly, but also I have the audiobook that I want to use up before my loan expires. So I'm going to go ahead and listen to that while I cut my fabric, and I'll check in with you guys when I have more to say. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to apologize for my voice. I hope it doesn't sound as bad as I feel like it sounds. It's been a few days since I checked in with you. I think the last thing that I did was on Saturday. I was listening to Heart Shaped Box and making my overalls before I went to the baby shower. I did that. I finished the overalls. They were super cute. I will probably wear them again very soon because I only got a few hours out of them. I got lots of compliments, so I was very proud of myself for making those jumpers, dungarees, what have you. But yesterday on Sunday, I woke up feeling awful. So I was feeling awful. So yesterday, I got a little bit of stuff done around the house, just some like things that I wanted to accomplish, but nothing too deep. And then I just spent the day sewing and relaxing. I made a Halloween jumper for my daughter. I'm going to do all my kids. I was only able to get one done yesterday. So cute. I'll show you guys later. So I did do a lot of reading yesterday. So when I wasn't sewing, I was reading, or while I was sewing, I had an audiobook going. So quick update. I say quick, but I'm already at 6 minutes. I decided to DNF Heart Shaped Box. I got to chapter 17, which is not a huge dent, but honestly, I don't know if this is for me. I like the weirdness of it. I like the macabre of it. But honestly, the pacing is a little bit lackluster. Honestly, I'm bored. It's just not piquing my interest, and honestly, it's boring me, and I'm afraid it's going to put me in a slump if I try and like trudge through this. I'm going to soft DNF it. I'm not saying I will never finish this book. Just for this week, I have more things that I would rather get through that are interesting me more than this one right here. And so I was feeling a little slumpy, and I decided to pick up a book that I've been very excited for on this TBR, and I just thought it would be something that is entertaining, but also a little like easier to get through. So I decided to pick up The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. Like I said earlier in this vlog, I've been wanting to read this for so long. It's been on my shelf forever, and I'm so glad that I've picked this up. It is, what I've learned is YA horror. I don't think I've ever read a YA horror, but I'm loving it so far. I am flying through this book. I'm currently 200 pages in, so about halfway, and this is good. I also really enjoy, there's mixed media, so let me rewind and do a quick recap, because I think I already explained what this was, but if I didn't, let me just quick rundown. This is a Carrie retelling. This is a modern Carrie retelling. This is set in 2014, and it's following Maddie. Maddie is a biracial girl who has been white passing forever. Her father has made it very clear that the town that they live in is not going to accept her, so she must be white and never let anyone know that she's biracial or black. She goes to school, it starts to rain, her hair gets wet. And if you are someone that has naturally curly hair, and it's a set in the South, like maybe Alabama, Georgia, sorry, set in Georgia. So it's very humid. So when your hair gets wet and it's humid, it is like Curl City. Curl City. So this girl, her hair gets drenched, it dries, it kinks up, it poofs out, and she's just mortified. And unfortunately, this small town, and specifically the kids in the high school, start to target her and mock her and say extremely racist and stereotypical comments to her while she's like sobbing. It reminds me of the scene in Carrie when she gets her first menstrual cycle and the girls are tormenting her. It's that same basic scene, but in a different context. So on top of this, it is the end of senior year. It's May and prom is being planned. Well, in this small town, prom is actually segregated. Yes, you heard me right. It is segregated in 2014. So basically how they get around this is that the school, when they first integrated, they did not want to have an integrated prom. So the school basically said, you know what, we're going to let go of prom and leave it to the community. And the community then said, we're going to keep our prom segregated. It is on the same night, literally. It says like a football field's distance from each other. This incident that happens with Maddie, the bullying in the classroom, the racist comments in the classroom are actually filmed and leaked to the press. So the media hops on this and they come to the small town, they start, you know, talking to people, this video is linked, and so this small town is getting a lot of bad PR. Rightfully so. So one of the students that we're following is, you know what, to fix this problem, we'll have a everyone all-inclusive prom because this will fix the issue and make us look good. Now, what I really like about this book is not only the social commentary that's happening in this story, this is dual POV, well actually multiple POV. We're following several characters. This is dual timeline. This is mixed media. And it is just so engrossing. Is this already going to be 5 stars and I'm not even done? Like, if it ended now, I'd still be like 5 star. It's fantastic. Yeah, so I've been talking your ear off for far too long, and I am late to my personal schedule that I like to get through before I start teaching. So I'm going to hop off of here, get some administrative stuff done before I begin teaching for the day. And then, like I said, I'll probably put on the audiobook. If I have any thoughts, I will let you know. But until then, I'll see you in a bit. Hi. It's been probably a week or so since I've last checked in with you guys, and it's for a good reason, kind of. First of all, I caught the nasty bug, the big one. I don't want my video to be flagged because I know Daddy YouTube likes to do that, but you know which one I'm talking about. The big one, you know, I caught that and I was down for the count, and I struggled to just like put myself together to even turn on a camera. So I didn't check in, and then it got to the point where I kind of forgot that I was in the middle of a vlog. So I apologize for that. But I do have a lot of reading updates for you because while I was bedridden and really struggling, I did do a lot of reading. Surprisingly, that was like all I could do essentially. So I did finish The Weight of Blood, which I don't remember if I told you I finished it. I think maybe the last I told you was that I was working on it. I finished it. 5 out of 5 stars. This is absolutely wonderful. Listen, Stephen King who? I'm gonna say it. Stephen King who? Stephen King wishes. He wishes. You know what? He like just like made that foundation of that story, but like Tiffany D. Jackson, she took it. She took it and did something with it, and I loved it. This was so good. This is so good, and I cannot believe it's YA. It's YA horror, but this crap was gory. It was explicit. And it was done great, but I think the thing that I love most about this was the social commentary on it. There are like a few things that I wish were different or I wish I wanted more answers to, but I can't be mad at because it does fit with the story. There's a reason, because essentially we are following this podcast that's trying to figure out what happened on this prom night. So there are some pieces that are left open. There's some pieces that we don't get the full answer to because this podcast probably would never get the full answers to them. But beautiful, 5 out of 5 stars. I could talk about this all day. Like, this could be in its own vlog to begin with. But then I ended up finishing another book, and because I was very sick, I didn't want to like do something too heavy. I needed something light. So I read The Ex Hex by Erin Sterling. This one was super quick, super fast. It was cute. I think I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 star. And that might seem low, but to me, I think that that's fair. I think that this book is a Hallmark movie with a little bit of spice that obviously Hallmark doesn't include. So I think a 3 out of 5 for me is good. It was just a cute little book. Like, it was just a cute little enjoyment, but I guess I'll tell you what this is about. So this is following Viv. She's recently broken up with her boyfriend Reese because she's found out that he's like betrothed and he didn't tell her, and they've been together for a few months, and she's like, bye. And no, I'm not doing this game. I'm not with you when you're betrothed. Out. But obviously she's heartbroken. So one night, her and her cousin get real drunk and they decide to do a little bit of magic. They're just gonna curse him, kind of like as a joke, right? Like making fun of his hair and certain things that he will do in the future with females that he will not be proficient in, if you get my drift, right? They move on with their life. Like 10 years later, 9 years later, Reese has to come back to this small town because his family, a family of witches, they don't call themselves warlocks, even though they're men, they're witches. They basically return every couple of years to like recharge this like magical battery that runs this magical town. So this family decides to send Reese back to recharge this magic battery, right? But when he gets there, he realizes that there might be a hex on him. He's just got bad luck, right? Flat tire, like nearly gets into a car accident, like all in the first 5 minutes of like stepping into this town. And he runs into Viv and she's like, what are you doing here? He's like, I gotta recharge this battery, but you know, I'm having a really hard time. Did you hex me? And she's like, oh shit, I think I did. Like, I think I did. I did. Sorry. He's like, you gotta help me. And they realize that this hex actually is like spilling over into other parts of the community. So Viv and Reese have to team up to undo this hex and save their little town. And obviously they have to, you know, confront what happened all those years ago. And, you know, questions are answered. And love is made. And love is had. And it's cute. And the spell's really cute, and I liked how it kind of went and the resolution of it. It was just a nice little slice. So if you don't like something that's really spooky, but you want something, you know, witchy, magical, I think this would be great. It was just like a Hallmark movie. I mean, it's got some spice in it. I would say like a 2 out of 5 on the spice meter. Nothing too crazy. And it was cute. I liked it. And I was feeling a little bit better, and I was like, I'm ready to dive into this because, for one, I want to finish my bingo board. 2, I want to finish my TBR because I don't want that extra spin on my game. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back, watch my October TBR game video. Explains it. So, I decided to pick up Bunny by Mona Awad. This book was great and unhinged from the start. Unhinged. Like, I don't even know how to describe this book. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I think I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I think I'm going to sit on it. I'm going to marinate on it a little more because it's not my typical book. I like unhinged, but sometimes unhinged for me gets like a little unhinged, like in a weird way, like in a not good way. For example, for me, that would have been The Writing Retreat. That one was a little unhinged in just like an unhinged way, if that makes sense. Like, I think the author was a little unhinged. This was like controlled unhinged. Like, I think this was like very much the intention. And it was great. This is Following Samantha. She is attending a very elite college in, I don't even know anymore, Warren, New England. And she attends this like writing group with four or five other women. They call themselves Bunny, right? Hi Bunny, love you Bunny, miss you Bunny, oh my god Bunny, fun night Bunny. Weird, because we're grown women and we're calling each other Bunny. Like in a childlike way, right? And essentially they're like a cult group, and they have this reading group that they call the Smut Salon. One day they invite Samantha to attend their Smut Salon reading group. She reluctantly does so, and she just becomes immersed in this group, and crazy stuff happens. It's like a fever dream, and I've heard it being described that way, and it very much, Luna, it very much is that. It's a fever dream. Samantha herself is unhinged from the start. There's just something off about her, and I just, from the start, you kind of think like, unreliable narrator. Unreliable narrator. Is she crazy, or is what's happening around her crazy? And so it was great. It was a weird time. It was a fun time. I highly recommend it. If you like weird books, you're going to love this one. If weird's not usually your thing, I'm still going to recommend it, and it might turn you on to weird books. Great job. 4 out of 5 stars. The more I think about it, I kind of want to bring it up, but I think I'm going to settle on that for now. And then when I film my wrap up, I'll just kind of come to my final conclusion about that one. All right. So those are the books that I read without updating you. And it is currently, October 30th. So that means I've got today to finish my Halloween bingo board. And then 2 days to finish my TBR, which I'm nervous about because I don't know how much reading I'll get done tomorrow on Halloween. But I think maybe a lot because it did snow. It snowed in Colorado on Saturday, October 28th. It was snowing. And then it snowed yesterday. So I don't know what trick-or-treating is going to be like tomorrow because it's still a couple of inches outside. So I might get some reading done. I don't really know, but I do need to finish my bingo board. I don't know if I'm going to be successful. This is going to be the last and final book of the vlog. I'm going to read The Bone Orchard today. Quick rundown, what is this about? Don't really know. We are following, I believe it's Charm, and she's like the madam of this like weird like gentleman's house. You know what I mean? I don't know if she's human. I don't know if she's a ghost, if she's a witch, whatever. But she has these other women, female beings working for her. And it's like pain, shame, justice, desire, pain, and pride. And they service, you know, men of this realm. Okay? And Charm is very close to the Emperor. And the Emperor is on his deathbed. He calls Charm up and he's like, listen, I know one of my sons is responsible for my death. I've been poisoned. I'm dying. I know one of my sons is responsible. And they're all terrible. They're all terrible. I know my sons are pieces of shit, right? But I need you to figure out which one is responsible for poisoning me and make sure that they don't take the throne when I die. And she's like, sure. Yeah, got it. Don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it. So we're following Charm, basically trying to figure out which terrible son is responsible for the Emperor's death and what can she do to make sure he doesn't end up on the throne. So this sounds really great. This cover is absolutely stunning. I'm a little intimidated because this is a long book and it's like a dense book. Like there's lots of words on these pages. But I'm really excited. I want to get into this. I think it's more gothic than like scary. But it fits the vibe, so we're doing it. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get a little more work done and then do some reading, and I'll check in when I have thoughts. Good morning. Hi. I finished The Bone Orchard. I don't know how to feel about this book. I enjoyed it, but also I was just so confused for majority of it, and I just don't know if it was the intention to be like a confusing novel, or I'm just not smart enough. And I think I said this in my last update. But I pushed through. I finished it. I think I'm going to settle on a 3 out of 5 stars. I would recommend this. I think this is for a specific type of reader. If you like deep books, if you are more of like a cerebral reader where it's very detailed and it does have lyrical writing, but there are many layers to it. This is definitely more of a character-driven novel instead of like a plot-driven novel that I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be fast-paced. I thought it was going to be more of like a whodunit, and in a way it was, but it just didn't feel like that was the main kind of like forward part of the story. I think it was more looking at the characters that live in the Bone Orchard. With that being said, I found it really hard to relate to these characters. All of the males, all of the princes, all of the kind of side characters to me weren't very fleshed out. So they just kind of felt like I was just looking at them on the surface, and I really wasn't making connections. So it was really hard to remember who was who. I do think that we got a little more depth with the different bone ghosts that we find in this book. But again, like it was just a little too much. I think it was just doing a little too much, but like not a lot at all, if that makes like any sense. It was a little all over the place. And I think honestly, I was just confused, and it could be brain fog. Who knows? So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I do think people would enjoy this. I think maybe I'm just not the reader for this as much as I want to be, because it is absolutely like stunning. But what I will say about this, and that I did like, is that it does explore different mental illnesses and different mental disorders. And I don't want to say which one, because I think that would be a huge spoiler. But if that is something that interests you, then you might really enjoy this one. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 star. I'm okay with it. I don't think it'll be on my top for the year, but I'm not mad that I read it. I just feel like I don't think I'm one of the girls that get it. You know? Okay. So let's go ahead and recap. Take a look at the bingo board and see if I actually finished my bingo. Didn't read it for the vlog, but it does go with my spooky reading. Was the Very Secret Society of Regular Witches. And I put that as Sweetest Candy Romance. So I started off by reading Misery by Stephen King. Really enjoyed this one. I just wish it was a little bit more. I just wanted a little bit more out of this one. So I marked that as the spooky book to movie adaptation. Then I DNF'd Heart Shaped Box. I think I'm going to return to it. My friend was telling me that this is their favorite Joe Hill, so I think maybe I just need to get to this on a different time. I think this just wasn't the time for this one. So that doesn't count for bingo. Then Weight of Blood, still the star of the show. 5 out of 5 stars. Love this book. I'm going to put this one for horror, mystery, thriller. Okay? So looking right now, I could go either way. I've got a couple of options. Diagonal, I've got a vertical, and I've got a horizontal. So let's keep going. Then I went through Ex Hex. Cute. Fun. This is definitely spell gone wrong. Ooh. Or, ooh, no, main character is a witch. That would give me another diagonal, like if I'm going that diagonal way. So let's see. Then Bunny, Unhinged Madness, that I absolutely loved. Ooh, okay, so we don't have anything with animal on the cover. Didn't scare me. Doesn't start with a murder. No night in the title. It's not true crime. No haunted house. Book chapters, maybe? 31? 38. Ooh, title that begins with the letter in October. B, Bunny. Hitting that one. Perfect. I'm so close to a bingo. Let's see if the Bone Orchard Skull or bones on the cover? Those are bones. Those are definitely bones. The Bone Orchard. Bam, right there. Bingo, diagonal. Awesome. I got bingo. I was really nervous. I didn't, like I said before, I'm not stacking this to try and get a bingo. Like, I literally just read what I wanted to read, hoping it would get a bingo, and I got a bingo. So that was really fun. I love it. Okay, definitely doing this again next year. I thought it was a lot of fun. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and end the vlog here. I did get through 5 books in this specific vlog, even though I did read 6. I just didn't film the other one. So I think all of these I would definitely recommend. I don't think there was any that was like, absolutely not, don't even waste your time. I would just definitely do a little more research on the Bone Orchard to see if you are someone who would be into that, and probably even Bunny too, because Bunny's a little weird. Both of these are a little weird, but I think Bunny, in my taste, hit where the Bone Orchard kind of got close. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I hope you had fun kind of coming around with me and living my life for the last 2 weeks, reading these books, doing some bingo. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, subscribe, like, do all the things. If you like bookish lifestyle content, you're in the right place. I hope you're having a wonderful time out there, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!